So, about 9 years ago, during the general election of 2016, I proposed a theory that Trump might have been a plant, specifically a plant for Hillary Clinton, so that even if he does win, she'll be kind of in control of him, or just a plant so as to make Republicans lose that presidential election and make her win or whatnot. And it did not turn out to that way, and that Hillary won, obviously. But at that time, anyways, I was suspecting that ultimately he was a plant that was in control by Hillary Clinton or Clinton family or whoever else is actually behind Hillary and whatnot. And I kind of did retract it. Fast forward to 2017. But now, fast forward to now in the year 2025, with this whole Epstein list shit, I almost feel vindicated now. And honestly, I'm going to try and keep like an open mind about this whole Epstein issue, about because there are like multiple possibilities when it comes to this, but ultimately, it does not look good. And might I just say, like a little bit of what am I trying to say? Prologue, I guess, to what I'm about to say before I get into what I think is possible in regards of Jeffrey Epstein and the client list and the Trump administration coming out and saying that it does not exist and that Jeff actually did kill himself, supposedly. But yeah, this does not look good. And honestly, to all Trump supporters, like, what is the argument for this? What is the possibility with this? I mean, can we admit that this is a flaw on his part and that it does not look good? And you can claim 4D chess all you want, but honestly, there is a point of where that 4D chess becomes just plain, honestly, I'm going to say it bluntly, cope. It's bullshit. And it does not work, and it doesn't fly as far as defending Trump from whatever criticism that he might have, because sometimes the criticism against him might just be legit. And honestly, to all Trump supporters, I always been wanting to like and support him more than I ever have in my life. Even back in 2016, when I was in the prime of my belief when it comes to Trump being a Clinton plant, and I ultimately voted third party that year, I wanted to be fully on the side of Trump supporters. I mean, because at the moment then, and sometimes in the years following, it seemed like that was like part of the cool kids club right there, is being one with the Trump camp and supporting him and whatnot, like America, fuck yeah, and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, regardless of what might be the case as far as Epstein goes and Trump's handling of that, my conscience can never ignore all the flaws with him. And of what I see personally are flaws about Trump. Not even coming from a leftist perspective about flaws about Trump, but coming from even a right wing perspective, from a liberty loving and libertarian and conservative perspective. Like, even now, like especially during his first term, but even now, he's been weak on the guns. I don't even trust that in the following years, if there turns out to be some big time mass shooting or whatnot, that if the pressure is put on him, that he'll be actually rock ribbed when it comes to standing up for our gun rights. He might just end up buckling to political pressure and renew the assault weapons ban or some other bullshit like that. I mean, he's already did the bump stock ban, for example, but so who knows on that front? And not to mention his spending during COVID, those two stimulus packages, he should have at least vetoed those, but he didn't, so he's a big time spender on that front. And I think there was another economic stimulus that he did even in the earlier parts of his tenure, that in his first administration as well, but I can't remember exactly what it was. And now researching about how he has basically nationalized U.S. Steel, even if he like technically did not nationalize U.S. Steel. Like, honestly, I don't care, actually, if he did not actually nationalize U.S. Steel. From my readings about that one thing that he did, he's at least put a lot of key business-making decisions in the hands of the government, or possibly in the hands of himself as an individual. Either way, it's not good. I mean, if he's doing it in trying to put the control in his own hands, even if he becomes no longer president, then that's people might even argue that's even worse than putting it in the hands of the government. Well, actually, no, both are like arguably just as bad, I will say. It's honestly the most pro-Venezuela, well, not pro-Venezuela. It's honestly the most Venezuela type of move that I have ever seen Trump do. And if he is putting it specifically in the control of the government, it is rather Venezuela socialist right there. And even if it does not have as much of an economic downfall as what Venezuela specifically did with nationalizing the oil industry, I still am against that by principle as a libertarian and even as a general conservative against this. And the fact that hardly anybody is criticizing that is kind of frustrating. But yeah, my conscience cannot ignore those. And looking at this, my conscience cannot even ignore this either. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Regardless of what criticisms that I had with Trump on other issues, I did not really believe that he was actually, that closely associated with Jeff Epstein, that he went on his private island, did some sus shit with kids on his island, might have disassociated with Epstein before he ever did that. I did not really believe the worst of Trump when it came to that. But this, getting onto all the possibilities here about this circumstance, this just puts forth heavy evidence that maybe he did do some sus shit. And he might ultimately even be like a plant for the deep state or the elites or whatever that you want to call them that are, in the upper echelons, the most highest echelons of society who were behind Epstein, behind the Clintons, and behind everyone else. But on the other hand, I do gotta acknowledge the possibility that obviously, well, possibility. I gotta acknowledge the theory that if he was closely associated with Epstein to a point of where that he was doing some criminal stuff in regards of kids and trafficking and all that other stuff, that the Democrats probably would have put forth a narrative for the mainstream media to tout about in a way that would not heavily incriminated high-ranking Democrats that the party as a whole did not want to, incriminate. So there is that possibility, obviously. But again, back to the first hand, maybe that's part of the ruse, though. Maybe there is the possibility that they're trying to hold off on exposing Trump in this sort of way. They're trying to hold back on that so as to not completely alienate his base and to keep on having his base support him and get him elected and now re-elected, obviously, and keep on supporting him so that there isn't such a huge backlash against Trump, and Trump can ultimately still remain in office with not that much. I mean, yeah, his approval ratings is going down and whatnot, but imagine if it was to be objectively proven that he did have close associations with Epstein, went on his private island and whatnot. Imagine that, you have Marjorie Taylor Greene possibly, and whoever else, U.S. House representative, probably calling for his impeachment and getting him out of office sooner rather than later, and so as that he would have less time to make conservatives look bad and so forth. So maybe that's sticking with the possibility of him being a plant, of him actually being associated with Epstein in the worst kind of way possible, and being a plant for the deep state. Maybe they're holding up the ruse, like my theory went back in 2016, so that he can further make conservatives look bad and just the Republican Party as a whole look bad. I mean, heck, the Republican Party already looked pretty bad as it was, to where that we probably did need a new party to start off with, at least anyways. But keeping him in so as to make the Republicans look even worse. I mean, even if Republicans were to be destroyed because of this, it would still take quite a while to get a replacement party to replace Republicans as far as somebody that would represent the right wing within America, and the Democrats would have a one-party control for the indefinite future, possibly. But keeping him in so as to make Republicans and conservatives look bad, and then ultimately, maybe by 2028 and going forward, make it so that people who are Trump surrogates or even anybody who is registered with the Republican Party look so bad to where that they're completely unelectable. Not in ways specifically of Epstein, but think about it, people. There's all the flaws with Trump, and you could argue that there is like overcorrections in regards of ICE. Like, obviously, I'm for deporting the more violent illegal immigrants. Let's just put that on the table right now. But and even if he isn't overcorrecting, even if every single illegal immigrant that is ultimately getting deported actually needed to get deported, or every single person who just in general getting deported, not necessarily legal or illegal immigrant, forget about that classifier, but every person who is getting deported, so let's say that they needed to get deported, just still on the surface level of everything, it does not look too good, because it is a little bit hard to dig into each individual story of a person getting deported, because on the surface level, it does look like an overcorrection. Like, this person was on a visa, legally speaking, for only a year. He did not have an expired visa yet, but oh, nope, he's getting deported because ICE is overcorrecting, or so the narrative go by the Democrats, and it's a little bit hard to fight against that narrative in some cases, because it's just happening so much, so many deportations, and ultimately, it does make Trump kind of look bad, in a way anyways. Maybe not in the eyes of every single Trumpist, or even regular moderate conservative or whatever, but still looking bad ultimately. And plus all the stuff that he has done that goes against conservative and libertarian principles, like I've mentioned earlier, in regards of guns and high amounts of spending, and his, honestly, restrictions on economic liberties too. Nationalization of U.S. steel in particular, and just tariffing every single country in the world practically, and all that stuff. Like, I've made a full podcast talking about with Loudmouth Reviews about how that definitely seems to be overcorrection and overplay, tariffing every single country in the world. But I don't know. There's all that stuff to still make Republicans look bad, even independent of the issue of Epstein, and make it so that Republicans are unelectable. And maybe they're just wanting to keep up the ruse by not yet exposing him to be a pedophile himself or whatever. Still want to keep him in office as somebody who is supposedly not any of that kind of stuff, so that he can make the rest of Republicans look bad because of the beliefs that he supposedly touts to believe, when all reality, he probably is just honestly a fraud. I'm gonna get like back into my Never Trumper phase right now, as far as my former 2016 Never Trumper phase, for the sake of this video. But there is like the fourth possibility in all of this, and that maybe he is legitimately not a tool for the deep state. Maybe he is legitimately his own independent person with his own independent motivations that are independent of the quote-unquote deep state, or whatever. At the same time, he did do some criminal stuff in relation to Epstein, but he's not going to reveal it, or else it'll become because all politicians in DC are in a Mexican standoff, and if he was to reveal it, like right now, he would get incriminated and put in jail, and so many other people, and it would just become a circular firing squad of everybody in DC. And everybody says, based. Yeah, let it all burn. And yeah, I completely get it. I completely understand it. But I'm just trying to understand all theoretical possibilities here. So there's still the possibility that yeah, he did some illegal stuff, and if that's true, well then fuck him for that, fuck Trump for that. But there's still the possibility that that is true, but also his own individual with his own motivations, not really as much of a tool of the deep state as we would possibly theorize. But he's not revealing the Epstein client list because it would not only incriminate Democrats and all the other people that MAGA people typically want to see locked up and whatnot, but it would also lock him up as well. The possibilities of this are just endless, but there's still the surface level observation of this, and that it just in general plain does not look good. And I don't even think the most diehard of Trump supporter can get around this. And really, at first, I go hearing that Alex Jones, he was crying and vomiting about hearing this news that the Trump administration was ultimately saying or alleging that there is no client list and that Jeffrey Epstein did kill himself, when really the closest possibility is that ultimately he did not kill himself because of the proposed circumstances and autopsy of his supposed death and whatnot. But I guess he is trying, after the fact, anyways, to construct some narrative as to why he isn't shown it. The client list, anyways. Excuse me. Still trying to defend Trump and construct some narrative to defend Trump, saying that he's holding the client list over the head of the deep state as blackmail against the deep state. I did not actually look into the clips or whatever, the quotes of Alex Jones. It's just what I go vaguely hearing, anyways, and I'm trying to address that possibility, knowing that I'll probably get a comment relating to Alex Jones's theory about that. And honestly, if that was true, if Trump is the ultimate, most utter good that Alex Jones has ever proposed Trump to be, that he is like the next best thing since Reagan, maybe even better than Reagan or whatever else have you. He's just using it as a blackmail against the deep state to get done what he wants to get done. Well, guess what? What he's getting done is not exactly great, even per according to conservative values. I still refer to the stuff in regards of U.S. Steel industry and some of his big spending and other stuff. And really, I need to get more updated on some of the more recent stuff that he has done and everything. But U.S. Steel is like the one thing that I have most recently read up on that is pretty bad luck in regards of Trump. But anyway. And maybe I just ranted about nothing. Maybe this is like a fifth possibility. Maybe ultimately there was no client list. I mean, I don't know why that they would be covering up and saying that Jeffrey Epstein did kill himself when he most likely did not kill himself and got assassinated by somebody. I don't know. Maybe it's just somebody who is hateful of the fact that he like cheated on their spouse or something, and they sent some assassin in because they're embittered about that specifically, and not necessarily because there's some grand conspiracy about elites that he would possibly expose if he was incriminated, if Jeffrey Epstein was incriminated back in circa 2018, 2019, whatever the case and theories might be about the court hearings of him and whatnot. But maybe there's a possibility that there is no client list and so forth. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's not that likely, but maybe there is that possibility and it's true, and I just ran it for nothing, but still. And might I just say, as a bit of an aside about Epstein as well, that even if there's all these people that are found to have went to Epstein Island, there would have to be further investigation after the fact of what exactly they did do on the island. I mean, this is like a little mini rant within a rant. All the people who go saying that to every person found to have gone on the Lolita Express, to have gone to Epstein Island, they're automatically incriminated. They're automatically criminals. So lock them up, every single one that we find that has rode on the Lolita and went to Epstein Island. Really, that's not exactly how that would work. even after that list is released and we found, I don't know, worst case scenario, even Tom Hanks, as I go naysaying accusations of him being a pedo, and I got shit for that. Even if Tom Hanks was found to be went on the Lolita Express or whatever, there would still have to be further investigation to find out if he did actually touch a kid in the wrong place, as well as every other single named person on whatever list that we're talking about. Tom Hanks, Donald Trump, Steven Spielberg, fucking Matt Groening, and et cetera, et cetera. So many celebrities and other elites, Bill Gates, whoever else have you. But anyway, I think that's all that I have to say. I think I've rambled long enough, but tell me what you all think. What do you think of this? If there are like any still diehard Trump supporters who go looking at this and they still want to offer their defenses on what they think is actually the case, well then I welcome you to propose them. But don't act like it's not a big deal. That's just delusional to act like that this is not a bad look and so forth. Anyway, I think that's about it. I'm Zach, the Dark Conservatarian. Thank you all for watching through this kind of lengthy video. Sorry that it ended up being so long. Maybe I should have taken notes. But anyway, God bless and goodbye.